G'day everyone. Watches come and watches go when you're collecting them, and after seeing a fair share of them spend some time in my watch box, I figured I'd show you all what I currently have and what I plan to keep. I try to limit myself to 10 pieces as a matter of discipline in order to free up funds and space for incoming watches and to ensure most of my pieces get enough wear time and don't feel neglected, although I usually have 11 or 12 most of the time. As a side note, I've already reviewed most of these timepieces, so I won't bother with flashing up their specs. If you like them and want to learn more about them, I'll leave links to them in the description below. But let's crack open this case and check out the state of a collection. Kicking off a collection is the Garmin Instinct Solar 2. And while some purists might balk at this offering, it really is a great smartwatch and excellent watch overall. It's got tons of timing, health and fitness tracking options, looks and feels tough thanks to that fiber-reinforced polymer case. The buttons are easy and tactile to use for accessing its functions, and it's surprisingly lightweight and incredibly comfortable to wear thanks also to its silicone strap with an insane number of adjustments. I've also bought and placed an aftermarket screen protector on it for around $20 Australian. I'm sure the standard crystal could stand up to some knocks, and the raised bezel offers extra protection, but as one user commented, do you want to make a $20 mistake or a $500 mistake? I wear the Garmin every day now to keep an eye on my sleeping activity and if I don't want to have to think about what watch I should be wearing outside of business or formal settings. Easily one I recommend to anybody who's looking to walk down the smartwatch path. Keeping with a digital theme, I'll move over to my Casio G-Shock, specifically the GA110GB-1A model. It's very black and very gold, and also very inactive due to a dead battery that I need to replace. I've owned this watch for around 6.5 years, and it was a gift from my wife, so it isn't going anywhere. Once I finally get around to a battery swap, I'll do a long-term review of this Casio. But needless to say, it's big and bulky, but tough as nails and commands attention when you wear it. Moving along to something more traditional looking is this Gen 2 Orient Bambino. It's also one of a few watches I've ever repurchased and kept. As you might tell, it's on an aftermarket leather strap. I've got the original here and it's wearable, but far from great. It's not really a watch you can wear at any time, let alone where there's a chance it'll get rough-handled or overly wet. And its looks coupled with its 21mm lug width makes it tricky to source a strap that'll suit it. But I found this combination works well for a slightly dressy or slightly casual look, and there's no getting around the fact that in spite of its imperfections, it really is a beautiful watch. And because I wore this piece to my wedding, it definitely isn't going anywhere. Another keeper in my collection is this Citizen 0850 model. I got this from my family as a birthday gift around 23 years ago, and it was a time well before I was overly familiar with or keenly interested in watches. It doesn't fit as well as it used to, and the alarm feature isn't working anymore, but its eco-drive movement lived for around 21 years before it finally gave up the ghost. But thanks to a watchmaker, I was able to get its capacitor replaced, and hopefully it'll give me another 21 years of time telling. And despite its age, it still works well otherwise, and its lume is still rather impressive. It really is a testament to Citizen longevity. The bad news for those interested is that Citizen don't stock this model anymore, but I suspect the eco-drive movements on current models would hold a longer charge compared to my old friend here. One other model that's not in my collection but I still have is this Timex T2N721 compass watch. Another gift for my wife, so it's staying in my collection, but long story short, I tried changing the battery myself. It looked complicated, and now it's in storage before I take it back to my watchmaker to have it properly replaced. And like my G-Shock, I'm hoping to do a long-term review of that one when it's ready. But those 5 watches will never leave my collection. Moving on now, and next up in the box is the Australian-based Mars Irukandji. If I'm being honest, I have toyed with the idea of flipping this watch. And as I said in my review, it is a great watch, but a not so great dive watch. It has the looks and specs for diving purposes, but its smaller hands and markers, loose bezel and pretty but weak lume left me feeling a bit underwhelmed with it. But you can't deny that its case design is really clever in how it closely resembles its jellyfish namesake. Plus the dial colour and sunburst is really mesmerising, and overall it's still a fun watch to wear otherwise. The other diver I have in my collection is the Seiko Prospex SNE557. Anytime I go out in the water, whether it's to the swimming pool, water park, or the beach, this is the watch I always wear. Given it's an ISO rated diver, it does seem overkill for these types of aquatic adventures, but I love its rugged yet colourful appearance and knowing there's no chance water will get inside it. It's also got a solar movement, so as long as I give it a good dose of sunlight every week or two, it'll keep going for years to come. And like some Seikos, its overall quality isn't perfect, and it's a matter of not if, but when you'll scratch at hardlex, but given it's meant to be a tool watch, those things don't really matter to me. Keeping with the Seiko theme and sliding to something more daintier is the Seiko 5 SNSX73. As most enthusiasts know, a more evolved version of this watch is now available and possesses far greater specifications than the one I'm holding, but given you can still pick these up online for less than half the price of its modern stablemate, and it exudes this vintage and slightly nostalgic charm, I'm quite content to keep this in my collection for now and wear it in the office and in smart casual settings. Just don't mention the bracelet, and get yourself an aftermarket offering while you're at it. And now for something much more casual is my acronym spaghetti watch from the Swiss watch company, or SWC ARKGMT. Normally I'd be quick to flip this type of watch, as its Swiss quartz movement hardly gets the pulse racing, and beyond the almost microscopic GMT wheel, there's no other complication to speak of. But the case fit and finish, especially with that 904L grade steel, looks amazing, and its dimensions are a treat on the wrist. And that lighter blue concave dial really draws my attention, and I've even got a few flattering comments about this piece. And if you're familiar with SWC, you'll know their loom application is ridiculous, and my example is no exception. Definitely a fun but high quality casual watch to wear around. One of my most recent purchases here is this Glycine Air Pilot. Normally it isn't a style I'd go for, and even now I'm a little 50-50 about it. I'm not sure what everyone's opinion is about Glycine either, but I picked this one up for peanuts via Ashford, and despite some of its shortcomings, it is still a quality timepiece with a handsome and masculine appearance. I'll review this one next, and after that I'll see whether it sticks around or ends up being flipped. And last but not least, but will definitely be flipped at some stage, is my Bernie T2567MS. It shares a lot of similarities with my Seiko SNXS, from the dial design and layout to its shonky bracelet. Come to think of it, they'd be a great double act. As a functional Garter watch, it's excellent, but for me there's a je ne sais quoi about it, but not in a good way. To me it's kind of missing something, and I can't really jive with it. And I'm pretty sure my Seiko will be glad to see it gone so it doesn't have to compete with it for wrist time. And maybe the Bernie might want to throw down against the Seiko to see if it's the better watch. Or maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself and rambling here. But anyway, that sums up the entirety of my collection. If you've owned any of the pieces that I've mentioned in this video, I'd like to hear your thoughts about them. But that's it for now, and thanks for watching, eh?